What's up guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Vincent. Today we're talking about things that I know or I wish I know when I move into Vancouver. And make sure you stay until the end because the more towards the end, the special it is, I guess. But in the beginning, we're gonna talk about something that's a little bit more everyone know it. I'm gonna say it like that way. But if you enjoyed this video at any time, make sure to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into the video. First thing on the list is prices. We all know that prices over here in West Coast, especially in Vancouver, is super expensive. As a matter of fact, in Canada, Vancouver is one of the most expensive places to live, with the rent cost above $2,000. This is not surprising because if you know me well, you know that I'm homestay and I have a lot of friends who live in rent. That's why usually if you want to come here, one of the tips is to pick your location because between Vancouver and Greater Vancouver, like Burnaby, Coquitlam, the prices actually changes quite a bit. So if you can find the right location with the right people, it's gonna save you a lot of money in the long way. Following the topic of prices, which is number 2, which is taxes. Vancouver is known for their expensive tax, which is 12%, which is, if I'm not mistaken, 5% PST and 7% GST. Either way around, I'm not so sure, but it's around 12% of taxes. And if you buy something, let's say you want to purchase a car above $50,000, it will get like 15, 18 or even 20%. Including property tax, if you're a foreigner, it's very expensive. But going back to day, everything you purchase here is basically taxed. For example, you buy some sort of groceries. Well, not everything, but there are some type of groceries that is taxed. If you purchase clothing, let's say, if you want to buy books, if you want to buy stuff, if you want to buy anything, usually on top of the sale price, the ticket price that you see in the store, you will need to add 12% to that. Now I know that for some of you 12% might not be as much as you think, but if you add it up, it kind of takes up a lot of money. For example, if you want to buy a pen, let's just assume that this pen costs $10. After adding the 12% tax, it will become $11.2 basically. So imagine just on top of your subscription, if you want to buy especially more expensive stuff like a phone or maybe a camera that like right now I'm shooting in, it's gonna add up extremely quickly because now that every $1,000 that you spend, you're gonna spend an extra $120 where you're gonna just pay it for taxes basically. Point number 3 is weather, and if you have done any research on Vancouver, you know that people call this city Vancouver because how much rain it is here. Now a lot of people debate that the rain over here is actually not that bad and you're actually gonna get used to it and it's gonna be fine. But here's how I wanna give it to you as a more objective context. If you live somewhere like far and you're gonna need to take buses, so you don't have a car basically, you're gonna need to take a bus and take a train and you're gonna walk. All of this rain is gonna give you a lot of hassle, and one thing that I found is that especially in the winter months where it's dark pretty quickly and it rains a lot, although sometimes it's not, that's not the point. But when it rains a lot and you're kind of at home, you feel like you're kind of feel like lazy because it rains a lot and you don't want to go anywhere. Obviously, if you have a car, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, an umbrella has become a staple for everyone over here, and pretty much you always bring it except right now in the summer. If you're someone who have to take public transit, it's gonna be a little bit of trouble for you. Moving on to point number 4, which is public transit, especially buses. Now don't get me wrong, public transit in Vancouver is extremely amazing. The SkyTrain buses is pretty much on point. However, in some of the suburb area, maybe you live in Coquitlam, let's say, in maybe some sort of, I don't know, suburb like housing neighborhood. It's not really like apartment near the mall and everywhere, those kind of places. You will find that some of the buses might not be as consistent as the buses at SkyTrain in the city. For example, when I'm going to school at SFU, I will take 145 or 143. That bus will be extremely consistent. It rarely happens that their bus is late or didn't come. However, if you live at the back of my old homestay, I have to take 157, and that bus could sometimes be 5 minutes late or even 5 minutes early. So you kind of like have to play catch up and you have to kind of make a safety plan. So what I did back then, before pre-COVID obviously, is that I take the bus one bus before my last bus. For example, if I have a class at 8:30 and my maximum time that I can take the bus is at 7:50, I will take the 7:20 bus just to be sure that if for some reason I miss this one, I have time for the 7:50, so it's kind of like a safety net. But if you live in like pretty much a more city area, it's kind of fine. But if you live in the suburb, the bus is pretty much a hassle in my opinion. Point number 5 is crime rate and sketchy places. Now, if you haven't know it already, People will say Vancouver is one of the safest city anywhere you can live, at least in America or North America, and that is correct. I'm not saying that it's not safe here, but throughout the year and lately, there's been a lot of like people following other and crime rate increasing. So that's definitely one red flag that you need to pay attention. Moreover, Canada law doesn't, especially at least in BC, doesn't allow you to carry any concealed weapon or any self-defense mechanism. Basically, they're going to see a lot of things when even once you do the self-defense, let's say, the court gonna judge if you're doing the self-defense with the tool that you're intended to use it for the self-defense or the tool that you just have it for other purposes. But criminal and self-defense law in Canada is extremely complicated, and I'm not a lawyer or any kind, so don't take it from me. But obviously, if you want to hear my opinion more on this, you can just mention me below and maybe I'll make a series, because this topic is gonna take a long time to discuss, so it's gonna require a lot of videos to talk about that. But you can also search it up, but for me it's kind of a hassle. Basically, everything over here that related to self-defense is an extreme hassle. Well, sketchy places, if you don't know already, one of the most like a lot of homeless people kind of live there. I don't want to make it as bad as it seems, but it's in East Eastland, and that's where kind of like the most crime rate and a lot of like people mocking other, and basically it's kind of like that area. So you might don't want to go there in the evening, and there's a lot of people there, but you can go through there with the bus, so you can see it if you want if you come here. But I'm not saying that to make it sound like, oh, it's extremely bad. It's not. Like, a lot of people here, they're pretty nice. Even the homeless people, as long as you don't bother them, it's fine. And sometimes they even like make some joke, and it's kind of fun. At least for me, it's fine. But obviously, it's worth mentioning, and I bet if you watch other videos, a lot of people mention that too. But that's definitely one red flag that I want to mention you when you search for places or search for houses here. The rent usually is cheaper there, but obviously if you want to pick a better location. And it's also worth mentioning that there's a lot of house scam here. Basically, they kind of like scam you, kind of like ask you to pay deposit, but they don't give you the key for the rent, those kind of thing. But this is another topic for another day. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section down below, and maybe I'll make another video in the future, because that's also a long topic to discuss. So that's video for today, guys. If you will reach until the end, make sure to hit the thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.